So another month of the Boruto manga has come and gone. The most recent chapter, Boruto manga chapter 50. Um of course, if you haven't seen my review of it, you can definitely check that out. But with today's video, guys, I actually wanted to touch more on my disappointments that I had with the chapter in terms of wanting more from the fight itself, the fight choreography. If you've watched my review, you know how I feel about the fight itself, but I think I wanted to go more in depth with this, with that disappointment with this video, as well as essentially do this video as a follow-up to a video I did before the actual chapter dropped, where I talked about the problem with Naruto and Sasuke in the new generation, in the Boruto era for the most part, as well as how I feel they should be represented. Now, of course, as per usual, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the chapter and just my thoughts in general here. Of course, we're on our way to 1,000 subs as per usual. I keep kind of repeating that every video anyway, but yo, the thing is, I appreciate the support. Hopefully we can hit that target before the end of the year. But let's get right into today's discussion, guys. So, Boruto manga chapter 50. Let's get the disclaimers and the positives out of the way, like the things that we already know. Now, for most of you who have been watching my videos leading up to chapter 50, you know I'm one of the biggest supporters of the fact that are of the notion that there isn't really a problem with Naruto and Sasuke losing so much in the new era. I personally just feel, or how I feel persons feel about this situation, is that deep down they don't think Naruto and Sasuke are being represented appropriately within these fights, even if they lose. Because the thing is, if character X and Y can make a pretty decent effort, they whipped out everything they could whip out essentially, and still lose in a satisfactory manner, then fine. So that's what I'm saying essentially. Naruto and Sasuke losing isn't the problem, and I spoke about this at length with a brethren of mine, a friend of mine, and I think we're more along the lines of the persons who are in the middle of the road regarding criticizing the Boruto manga. We're not too negative, we're not too positive, if I do say so myself. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I don't think so. But at the end of the day, we do agree with a lot of the criticisms that persons at the more negative side of criticizing Boruto have, essentially regarding Naruto and Sasuke being represented. And I also felt that way, but after like talking with him at length for after the chapter, like, it really is like the two of us really came to that realization that this is really bad in terms of how Naruto and Sasuke are being represented in the fights. And it kind of goes back to the writer and the illustrator, Kodachi and Ikemoto. The thing is, going back from even the fight with Delta till now, all the fights have this, I would say, formula. We know that Ikemoto, and well, I think it should be Ikemoto, he draws inspiration from Akira Toriyama and how he structures fights. But that being said, that can be a good and bad thing, and I think more recently that's been kind of a bad thing, considering that it's devolved the fights into just this punch, maybe Rasengan, Sasuke switches here and there, sword slash, punch, then two of them get clapped for the most part. So yeah, and essentially what we had basically decided or come to conclude is that Naruto and Sasuke aren't really using a lot of the things in their arsenal for the most part, honestly. And it's not that we expect them to win, because as I said, I have been one of the supporters of the idea that they just can't beat Isshiki. But even if they can't win, at least make them look credible, I know this is a concern that a lot of persons if you even support or hate Boruto, the feeling is the same across the board. And I think when that's the case, there's an objective problem there, then and there. Because really and truly, in the fight, a lot of the things that I feel are promoted about Naruto and Sasuke's character are just based on how they've appeared in previous media before Boruto. it doesn't paint a consistent picture about their regarding their abilities and what they can do. You know, as I discussed with my brethren as well, is that yo, Sasuke is a quote-unquote master of the Rinnegan, but at the same time he never really uses anything from the Rinnegan in the manga. At least is always just his additional ability to, you know, either switch places or travel to other dimensions, and then two on two moves later he's basically out of commission, out of the fight. At the same time, Naruto has chakra from all the tail beasts, and it's not just chakra, he has access to all these different techniques that he can, you know, utilize, you know, use in certain situations to help him out. And you just don't see that at play there in the Boruto manga at the same time. So that's the problem I feel persons have at the end of the day. And as I said, as I keep repeating, it's not that they can win, but at the same time they have techniques that can be used in certain situations that would at least make them look more of a credible, well, in quotes, a credible threat to Isshiki at the same time. And I think it goes back to not only the fact that they're taking inspiration from Dragon Ball. Not that that's a bad thing, as I said, let me just kind of repeat that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But that and the fact that I probably wouldn't want to say because the series is monthly that's an excuse. But yeah, it does seem like, in a sense, there is a lack of creativity along with the pacing for the monthly, you know, for the series being monthly. And you'd think with the amount of pages we get every month, you'd think we'd be able to like break down the fights even more and see more from Naruto and Sasuke, but that isn't the case. Now, obviously, and even by past experience, we know when the Boruto anime gets here in, you know, gets to this point in like 2050, we know that they'll more than likely expand on the fight. And I don't know if it's a case where Kodachi and Ikimoto are basically writing and drawing the manga with that in mind, because, you know, Boruto or Naruto at this point has become very corporate. So it could be a scenario where like there's, you know, since I believe Kodachi is kind of supervising things between the anime in terms of story here and there, as well as obviously he's writing the manga. I don't know if it's a case there he might say, oh, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, get, for the most part, kind of not necessarily rush, but get to the point of what I'm trying to say in the manga, and then I'll flesh it out, like work with the guys at the animation studio to actually flesh this fight out when I get there. Because the thing is, we know the Boruto animes is in desperate need of more source material to work with before it actually starts adapting more content from the manga. So that could be a factor as well. So we can't just necessarily look on the negative side of things regarding this whole thing, but at the same time it's no excuse, because when you have a story and you have that audience, I don't think the audience should have to necessarily be craving for material outside of the medium to really fulfill what you're trying to tell them here and now. It's kind of like the case with like Halo 5, if any of you are Halo fans. And there was a bunch of plot elements that really required like for you to like read outside material to actually get an appreciation of it, which, you know, not necessarily, it shouldn't be the case like that. And in this case, it's regarding the creativity and the fights, and there shouldn't really be any excuse for the lack of creativity is what I'm saying. It shouldn't be excused even if they're going to flesh it out in the anime. I mean, case in point, in previous like a previous example of this is obviously the fight between Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. The fight is considerably more creative within the anime. Everybody loves episode 65, obviously, and it's to the point I'm saying that, yo, like for example, in that specific fight when Sasuke used Chibaku Tensei, yo, I was hyped because you hardly see Sasuke using the abilities of the Rinnegan these days, and they would come in handy, honestly. So yes, this video more or less is more of a continuation of that video I did talking about Naruto and Sasuke, but this time obviously with chapter 50 in mind. And it's just that That's really the heat of the problem outside. Like, it's one of many problems that the Boruto story or franchise has, specifically the manga, where in terms of creativity and just having Naruto and Sasuke being represented the way they should, using the abilities that could be helpful, then fine. I'm sure a lot of persons aren't complaining when, you know, Goku tries his best against Cell. We know he can't beat Cell, he says it himself, but for the most part you're satisfied with that fight at the end, obviously. Now, we could sit here and say, yo, Goku could have trained an additional year in the time chamber, all of this, but for the most part, you're kind of satisfied with the direction they're taking, especially since Gohan in that arc, you know, it's transitioning to have him be the star of the show temporarily. So that's really and truly it. We just want it to be a case where, yes, Naruto and Sasuke keep getting their asses kicked inside of Boruto, but we just want them to be represented the way they should be represented, and just have that level of consistency based on what they've been, you know, been shown capable of doing in the past. I mean, Naruto, this is the guy that stopped Toneri. I mean, Toneri's not really nothing to really write home about, but the guy was able to split the moon in half, and Naruto basically stopped him with one hand. So, like, let's have some consistency here, even if they're gonna get their asses kicked. That's all I'm saying. Representation, creativity. That's what the Boruto fans want from the fight. Honestly, outside of the fight with O, I probably would have to say the fight between Kashin Koji and Isshiki might be the best fight in the manga so far, in terms of, you know, just feeling satisfied with how Kashin Koji was represented given his abilities. So, I don't know if I'd call this a rant for the most part, I don't know, but it's something. Post Boruto Manga chapter 50 discussion. I don't even know what I'm going to title this. Probably Naruto and Sasuke suck. Because at this point, Sasuke needs to make sure, like, check the warranty on his Rinnegan, link back Hagoromo, give back that Rinnegan, because clearly, as me and my bridge are saying it, the man has lost the instruction manual and really needs to return it, because it's just not working out. Naruto, the TLBs just need to take back his chakra. Simple that. But anyway, guys, yo, I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm recording this on Saturday night. I might not put this up until Monday, Tuesday, more than likely, because, you know, tomorrow's the Boruto episode. I might be doing a live reaction to that. So, or maybe I'll even put this out later in the evening on Sunday. Maybe. Guess we'll see. But thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys are great. Yo, just stay safe out there, guys. It's just stay safe, honestly. Anyway, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about my thoughts here. Hit that like button. As I said, we're on our way to 1,000. Let's see if we can hit that goal. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next Boruto discussion. Peace out. Yo, later.